Hydrangeas are one of my favorite flowers. I use them for fillers, but you can also use them as a flower on their own. So to start, color your gum paste whatever color you choose to make your hydrangea. They come in a variety of colors, and hey, they don't necessarily have to be true to color. You can make them whatever color you wish. So I am in this case making a dark purple using a bit of Crisco if it gets sticky. And I also love my Jennifer Dunce hydrangea cutter. It comes with the cutter as well as the double-sided veiner. It's a lot more detailed than the Wilton one that comes with the standard Wilton flower cutter kit, which you'll see here now. It's not as detailed. That one's very basic. The Jennifer Dunce one has so many little nooks and crannies and details that just make it that much more exceptional. So to begin, I start with making my centers. So the centers are a little bit tedious. You do have to make, well, as many hydrangeas as you're making, you need to make that many centers for them. So taking tiny little pieces of the gum paste, roll them into tiny little balls, and just drop them on the table and let them set until you're done with as many as you need. So again, tiny little pieces. Now, if you look at a real hydrangea flower, they have almost like 4 little beads. I don't necessarily do that because my goal when I make flowers is how can I mass produce in a quick manner and still look somewhat realistic, but not true to the actual garden flower. And this is how I do so. You can absolutely go back with a tool and add the 4 little lines to give you almost that bead-like look, but I don't do so. I just make the little balls, and then I take my cloth-covered wires. A 12-inch wire I'll usually cut into about 4 pieces. I'm not particularly worried if they're exactly the same length, but round about the 4. Dip it in your gum glue, which is a mixture of water and Tylose, and then just kind of stab it into the little ball on the table. And I push right down to the table so you get kind of a flat top surface, and then stick them into a foam to dry. Preferably you'd like them to dry overnight, but 20-30 minutes would be okay to use in your flower itself. But this helps me be able to make large quantities of these flowers in a very short amount of time. Now, the cloth covered wires are much better than the paper covered because when they hit the Tylose and water mixture, they tend to separate. So the paper will separate from the wire and the paper just gets in your way. So just keep sticking them the centers on your wires and placing your wires to dry. Again, this can be time consuming if you're doing hundreds of these. Now you can also do these all in white so that you can just dust them in whatever color you wish in the end. But for this particular case, I needed purple flowers and I needed them deep. So it was just easier to start with a purple flower. Now in order to make the flower themselves, roll your gum paste a little bit just to be able to help it through your pasta roller. I do use a pasta roller, which is just off to the side. You can't see that. And I roll it fairly thin, number 3 setting on my pasta roller. And using a gum paste protector, I will cut them out, and then I just place them in there until I'm ready to vein them. So again, you want to cut as many as you need based on the number of centers that you've created. This could be 5, this could be 45, could be 500. Ultimately, it depends on what you're doing and how many you're going to need. Just keep cutting them out and placing them in there. This protector will help you if you're not going to be veining them right away. You can close the sheet up. See that little clear cover folds over, and it helps them from drying out. So that they're ready to be veined using the double-sided veiner. So it will vein both sides of this. Now, in order to maintain that shape, you do need to use some of the egg crate foam, and using my shelf extender from a dollar store, just set that on top. Place your gum paste on the veiner, press it down, and place it inside one of the valleys of the egg crate foam. And before I place the centers, I do all of my flowers first. Again, when I'm doing them in white, I'll just fill these egg crate foams. I won't count how many I do. I just fill up the foam and then keep going from there. So this will allow you to keep the shape. When you stick them in there, I'm not too particular. I like them, some of them are up the side a little bit, some of them down, perfectly down inside. Again, it's going to give your flowers all kinds of movement and allow you to have more variation in the florals themselves. So once you have these all completed, and done, you take your Tylose mixture on your paintbrush and dab a little tiny bit in the center of every one of these flowers. And then take your centers and press them down through the foam itself. And it's kind of like needlepoint, but you're not pushing all the way down because you will break the flower. So just gently push them until they meet the flower itself, so the center meets the flower. Don't pull the wire down through the bottom because you will pull it directly out of the flower, or sorry, the center itself, and you have to start over. So you're just pushing gently and leaving them set overnight. You can then, once completed, dust these, so you can use some whites or some yellows down and around the interior, some darker colors around the outside, or